Welcome, welcome. Today I'm going to show you how I made this beef tallow, otherwise known as liquid gold. My name's Greg. This is the Gourmet Woodsman. I'm making tallow today. Beef tallow is similar to lard. They're both made of fat. Lard is made from pig fat. This here is called leaf lard. So if you unroll this out, it's a little frozen. If you unroll this, kind of shaped like a leaf. This is the fat that's around the kidneys. And then there's outside fat, which is basically your back fat. But I'm not making lard today, so we don't need pork fat. I'm making tallow today, so I need beef fat. This here is also fat from the inside, not the outside. And it too is fat that's around the kidneys. This fat will not make very good sausage at all, but it will make the best lard. So first thing I need to do, cut this into pieces that'll fit in my grinder. So you want to start with the partially frozen, because it just cuts easier. If you don't have a grinder, you can still make tallow. Just cut it small. Smaller the pieces of fat, the quicker it will render. Have no fear, you can still render the tallow. If you have some fat from trimming a brisket, or even just if you trim up your steaks and just save that fat over time till you have enough, you can make tallow out of any fat. I have this kidney fat because most years I get a half cow in my freezer. Haven't cut it how I want it. Since this is part of it, I get it too. But like I said, any fat will do. There's plenty of fat left over from a brisket when you trim those. I prefer to use that fat in burgers or sausage because I have this fat for my tallow. There's a lot of uses for tallow. I like to confit roasts and stuff. Cook it about halfway, finish it up in some beef tallow. Surprisingly, it doesn't come out really greasy and heavy. It just comes out really unctuous, if that's a word. I think it is. And this is still pretty frozen, but it is easier to cut that way. And definitely important to be very cold when you grind it. I got one more piece. This is probably enough for a run, but as long as I'm getting my grinder out, cleaning out the kidney fat from the freezer today. So thanks for the suggestion, Rex. And speaking of that, I'm making this tallow because I did get a comment, got a suggestion in my comment, a question about it, and I will do my best to respond to comments and requests. If it's something I know how to do or feels like it's in my wheelhouse, totally open to suggestions, and I will respond to them. Not saying I will make every recipe you ask for, but I'll certainly consider it. Got a request for breakfast sausage, so that'll be coming up, but it might take a while just because I have some other videos in the works already. Well, there's many ways you could render tallow or lard, but today I'm going to do it in a slow cooker because it's an easy hands-off way to do it. Because I'm making tallow, got an extra step. I'm going to add salt, probably a fat tablespoon. I'm going to add a couple cups of water. Then I'm going to cover it, turn it on high for about 15 minutes or so to get it started and warmed up, and then I'll turn it down to low. The salt and the water is going to remove some of the impurities in the fat. And I think if you stick around, you'll be surprised what you see. So after a while, you'll see it renders down actually pretty quickly. This has only been about half hour, 45 minutes. I'm just going to keep topping this off as much as I can. And you'll see it'll render down. I'm not going to fit all the fat that I ground into here, but probably half. Probably be able to put some more in one more time. All right. Now we'll just cover and forget. It's been another 45 minutes. This is all melted. Been a total of about 2 hours and 15 minutes to get this all rendered. Now that the tallow's rendered, just need to strain it and remove the impurities. So let's do that. I'm going to take a pot. We've got a fine mesh strainer lined with cheesecloth, 2 or 3 layers depending on the quality of your cheesecloth. And I could just pour it in there, but I'm afraid I'll make a huge mess. So I will start by just ladling it out. Alright, so that's what's left. Not much to do with that. I mean, you probably could find a use. I haven't found many good uses. It's kind of greasy, weird. Dogs like it though, so I'll set it aside, wait for it to cool. Nothing goes to waste. Next step in the process, I want to put this in a container that one is flared out so that when it hardens it'll come out easy. And two, like this has a flexible bottom that's going to help us out later. I'm just going to let this cool for a little while, then I'm going to stick it in my refrigerator, and we have one more step after it hardens. Alright, my tallow has firmed up, and the only thing left to do is get it out of the bowl. I'm going to take a piece of paper, because this cutting board's the one I use for my raw meats, and I'm not opposed to using it, I wash it and everything, but I know I'll get some comments about that, so Check it out. Just going to loosen this around the edge. And it's going to come out like one big puck. Now you don't need to use the salt in the water to purify your lard, but take a look at this, what's left over. You want to eat that? That's why I purify my lard, because that doesn't need to be in there. Sometimes the bottom of the puck, it's a little dirty from resting on top of that dirty water. You can dry it off. What I will often do is just scrape off a little bit of that nastiness. And don't put this down your sink, you will regret that. Throw it out, make some charcoal starters out of it, do something, but don't put it down your drain or you will regret that. Dry off as much of this water as you can. There we go. Now if you wanted, I don't make soap or beauty products, but they do make soap and some beauty products out of tallow. And I would say if you wanted to do that, you just do that whole process with the water and the salt. Do that another time or two, and it'll just keep drawing more impurities out of this tallow. But that's not what I'm in it for. Gonna cut this into quarters, get the crock pot back out, stick these in there, turn that on low, let it go. Once my tallow is melted enough to put into jars, I filled them up, put a lid on it. These will stay good for a very long time in a cool, dark place. As long as you got all the moisture cooked out, it will not mold. Please don't throw out your scraps. Enjoy your liquid gold. If you enjoyed this content, give it a thumbs up. Check out some of my other content at Gourmet Woodsman. Put some love into your food. Peace.